Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are taking on, well, a true cornerstone of American literature, Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. We've pulled together a comprehensive stack of sources, reviews, literary analyses, historical context, to really unpack why this novel continues to resonate so much decades after its publication. Our mission today isn't just to recap the story, it's more about cutting through some of the noise, giving you those critical insights, those aha moments that maybe elevate your understanding of this really profound work. So whether you're revisiting it or maybe encountering it for the first time, you'll hopefully walk away feeling deeply informed and perhaps with a fresh perspective.
Exactly. This deep dive, I think, will illuminate not just what happens in To Kill a Mockingbird, but really why it remains so relevant, even, amidst evolving contemporary critiques. We'll explore its enduring themes, its crucial historical context, and, yeah, how it still sparks these essential conversations about justice, prejudice, and empathy.
Okay, let's get straight into it then. The book we're exploring is, of course, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, originally published back in 1960. It's a pretty remarkable blend of genres. You've got Southern Gothic, coming of age, even legal drama elements, all set against the backdrop of Macomb, Alabama during the Great Depression, the 1930s.
Yeah, and what truly sets this book apart, I think, and what our sources consistently highlight, is how Harper Lee just masterfully interweaves this tender, coming-of-age story with a really searing indictment of racial injustice. It's not just like two parallel narratives running side by side. The children's gradual loss of innocence becomes our window into the ugliness of societal prejudice. It makes the commentary far more impactful than maybe a simple historical account could be.
Absolutely. And the characters, especially someone like Atticus Finch, they've really transcended the pages to become true literary icons. It's difficult, maybe impossible, to discuss moral courage in literature without him immediately, coming to mind. So to truly understand how these themes and characters come alive, we probably need to trace the journey Lee takes us on. The story is narrated by a young girl, Jean-Louise Finch, but everyone calls her Scout. She's navigating this racially segregated Macomb alongside her older brother Jem and their widowed, very principal father, Atticus Finch. The early parts of the novel, they set a very specific tone, don't they? We see Scout, Jem, and their friend Dill, who's quite imaginative, become utterly captivated and, yeah, a little terrified by their reclusive neighbor, Boo Radley. This childhood fascination with the mysterious, unseen figure living right next door is just such a brilliant setup.
Indeed, it's a classic childhood curiosity, isn't it? But it subtly introduces one of the novel's core ideas: the danger of judging those you don't understand. And this parallel, it becomes profoundly clear when Atticus, as a lawyer, gets appointed to defend Tom Robinson. Tom's a black man falsely accused of raping a white woman, Mayella Ewell. And this pivotal moment, it just instantly throws the children from their kind of innocent games into the harsh, undeniable realities of their town's deep-seated
And
prejudice.
what follows is just, well, it's heartbreaking.
It's okay.
Despite an overwhelming amount of evidence pointing straight to Tom's innocence, he's tragically convicted. And it's purely due to the pervasive, deep-rooted racism of the era. This moment is a real punch to the gut for the reader, but it's especially devastating for Jem, right? What does this profound injustice actually mean for his young, sort of idealistic worldview?
That's a crucial point, yeah, because it forces us, the readers, to consider. How does a child who's been raised with principles of fairness, how do they process such profound unfairness? Jem's idealism is basically shattered, and we see his struggle to reconcile the Macomb he thought he knew with the ugly truth revealed in that courtroom. The tragedy deepens, of course, with Tom's death while attempting to escape prison. And then, in a truly unexpected climax, the very figure the children once feared, Boo Radley, he emerges from his reclusion to rescue Scout and Jem from a vicious attack by Bob Ewell, Mayella's abusive father.
Right. And so the novel culminates with Scout's burgeoning understanding of empathy and courage. This full circle journey from initial childhood fears and misunderstandings to a really profound, mature insight. It's a transformation that really stays with you long after you finish the book.
And it's through this crucible of events that we really see the true nature of Macomb, and crucially, the indelible roles of its inhabitants. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the characters are just vital to conveying the novel's enduring themes. Atticus Finch, for instance, he isn't just portrayed as good, he's truly the moral compass of the novel because he embodies this pragmatic, active integrity. He doesn't just preach, he acts. He stands firm for justice with this quiet strength, even when it's deeply unpopular and even dangerous.
Mm. And Scout Finch, our narrator, she's so precocious. She shows us this entire complex world through her young eyes. Her growth from childhood innocence to a more nuanced understanding of adult complexities is absolutely central to the story.
Mhm.
And Jem, her older brother, he faces that really harsh awakening, seeing his idealism shaken by the undeniable injustice he witnesses firsthand.
Then there's Boo Radley. Initially, he's just shrouded in mystery, the subject of all these wild childhood rumors and games. But ultimately, he becomes this powerful symbol of misunderstood kindness and innocence. And Tom Robinson, tragically, he embodies the Mockingbird, innocent, harmless, but ultimately destroyed by the pervasive evil and prejudice of the world around him.
And on the darker side, you have Bob Ewell, who represents the very worst of humanity.
Mm.
Ignorance, hatred, that destructive force of racism, and finally Calpurnia, the Finch family's black housekeeper. She acts as such an essential bridge, doesn't she, between the white and black communities. She provides the children and us, the readers, with an invaluable grounded perspective on both worlds. So, after meeting these unforgettable characters, what are the really big ideas that To Kill a Mockingbird wants us to wrestle with? Our sources highlight several profound themes. Racial injustice obviously is front and center. It's vividly portrayed through Tom Robinson's trial and the systemic racism deeply embedded in the American South of that era. It's a stark mirror reflecting historical truths.
And this leads directly into the theme of moral education, I think, through Atticus's unwavering actions and his carefully chosen words. The children, and by extension, you, the reader, are taught these crucial lessons about empathy, fairness, and the immense importance of standing up for what is right, even when it's difficult or unpopular. It's not simply a lesson learned, it's more like a lived experience through their eyes.
Yeah, definitely. And at its heart, it is the quintessential coming-of-age story, isn't it? Showing that often painful transition from childhood innocence to the harsh realities of maturity. Scout and Jem grapple with deeply complex moral issues and discover that the world isn't always fair or just. It's a tough lesson.
Courage is another vital theme. And not just physical bravery, though there's some of that, but the profound moral courage demonstrated by Atticus. Standing firm against overwhelming public opinion and threats, that takes a different kind of strength. And underpinning it all, the thing that makes it resonate so deeply is empathy. It's summed up in that famous quote, "You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it." And this isn't just about, simple understanding. It's about the active, often uncomfortable choice to try and see the world from a perspective entirely different from your own, even when that person might be unsettling or, frankly, even repellent, like Bob Ewell. Lee shows us that this kind of radical act of empathy is maybe the only real antidote to the deep-seated biases of Maycomb.
So, how does Harper Lee manage to tell such a powerful, layered story with such impact? What about the style? Our sources consistently point to Scout's first-person narrative voice. It's a remarkable choice, really. It gives the story this childlike clarity and innocence, yet it carries a profound, often understated insight into the adult world. The tone is reflective and compassionate, often quite humorous in its observations, actually, but it shifts dramatically, becomes profoundly somber and tense during the trial sequence.
Oh, absolutely. And the symbolism is particularly rich. It's central to the novel's lasting power. The Mockingbird itself, it's more than just innocence. It's this poignant representation of vulnerable beauty in a harsh world. Lee uses both Tom Robinson and Boo Radley as these mockingbirds, innocent individuals who, through no fault of their own, are essentially brutalized by the prejudice, the fear, the misunderstanding of the community. It forces us to confront how easily societal evils can just crush the most innocent among us.
Right. And then there's the Radley house itself. Initially, it just represents that fear of the unknown, the mysteries that children invent about the spooky house down the street. But as the story unfolds, it becomes this powerful symbol of the danger of false judgment and how our prejudices can completely distort our understanding of others. It's a beautifully crafted arc for a symbolic setting.
And understanding the historical and social context here is absolutely crucial to grasping the novel's full impact. While the story is set in the 1930s, remember, it was published in 1960, right during the height of the Civil Rights Movement. This timing is incredibly significant.
Yeah, that's a great point. The genius of Harper Lee setting this story in the 1930s, but publishing it in 1960, right at the zenith of the Civil Rights Movement. It allowed her to reflect on this ingrained generational prejudice, but with a crucial historical lens. She was effectively saying, look at how these issues from our past are still alive and well right now in our present. It gave contemporary readers a framework, didn't it, to understand the deep roots of segregation and racial injustice they were fighting in real time. It made the fictional injustices painfully resonant. It highlighted issues like segregation and racial prejudice that were, frankly, rarely addressed so directly and powerfully in mainstream literature back then. And the lasting legacy of To Kill a Mockingbird is just, well, it's truly astounding. It won the Pulitzer Prize in 1961, just a year after it came out. And it has since become a staple in school curricula pretty much worldwide, shaping generations of readers.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And its cultural impact extends way beyond the page. It was adapted into that acclaimed 1962 film starring Gregory Peck. He famously won an Academy Award for Best Actor for his portrayal of Atticus Finch. It's widely considered a modern American classic. It sparked generations of readers to reflect deeply on justice, race, ethics. It has undeniably shaped the cultural conversation around these issues.
Now, while it's revered, it's also faced its share of criticism, and it's important we touch on that. Our sources delve into these discussions. Some modern critics argue that the book tends to center white perspectives and ultimately presents what is sometimes termed a white savior narrative, particularly with Atticus.
Right. And they also note that Black characters like Tom Robinson and Calpurnia, while incredibly important to the narrative, sometimes lack the depth and agency may be seen in the white characters, particularly Atticus. This raises an important question, about whose stories get told, how they are told, and whether these narratives fully represent the experiences of marginalized communities. It's a valid critique to consider.
Despite these valid and crucial points, our sources do emphasize that To Kill a Mockingbird remains a powerful and often accessible gateway for discussions on race and justice for many, many readers. It often serves as a starting point, doesn't it? Opening conversations, even if those conversations then lead to deeper, more critical analyses and explorations of other vital works.
So after this deep dive, pulling from all our source material, I think we can confidently conclude that To Kill a Mockingbird earns a resounding 9.5 out of 10. You absolutely should read it or reread it for its profound emotional depth, its moral clarity, and its enduring relevance in addressing these timeless issues. It truly is a must-read that challenges us to confront prejudice with empathy and integrity.
It really is. It's a story that asks us fundamentally to step into someone else's shoes, to challenge our own assumptions, and maybe to find the courage to do what's right, even when the odds are stacked against us. So, as you reflect on To Kill a Mockingbird, maybe consider this. What are the mockingbirds in our world today? Those innocent, vulnerable beings, or maybe even ideas that are unfairly targeted or misunderstood? And what can we learn from Atticus Finch? Not just about, physical bravery, but about that profound, quiet moral courage it takes to stand up for them. Something to think about.